I come to you today with a message that has been simmering in my mind and in my soul for the last maybe few months or so. And I would just like to share some insights about the time that we're in, the coming time. For some time, we have been in a world, we have been in a physical time period, a period in the world where we were learning to master the physical elements, building buildings, developing technology, da 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 da. All of the things that we have seen, over the last whatever 200,000 years. you know, it's been evolving, and we have been learning to master the physical. There's a parallel here, bringing up patriarchy and basically men having more power and more say in the societies than women have had. We have seen a lot of suppression of women and an oppression of women. I'm not really here to talk about men versus women. I'm not here to talk about that. But I would just like to bring up the parallel of that, the man by nature is more designed to get things done in the physical. They really are. That's the strength. That is the strength of the man, is that he can put things into action, he can put things into form in the physical, right? Women, we can do that too, but we have a very different purpose. And so at this time, we're reaching the end of this period of we are now in a time period of mastery of the mind. Okay, it starts with the physical, and now we are in the time of the mind. Okay, we are being confronted as people with the flaws of this physical world we have created, because no, not everything is just existing on a physical level. Things are existing on a physical level, a spiritual level, a mental level, and a mental, physical, spiritual level, right? We are now at the point of mastery of the mind. We are transitioning because so many people are still in this 3D mindset, this physical mindset, revolving around money, revolving around what somebody else said in their religion, I don't know. There's a lot of 3D perspective, okay, between love and hate, and it's not even that. I'm getting off track. I'm getting off track from where I need to be. We are transitioning from focusing so much on physical possessions and physical creation and physical form, and now we are being confronted with demons in our minds, in our spirits. We are being confronted with the errors that we are making with each other that happen in the mind. Okay, so the mind is a very complex thing. It's a very imaginative thing. We can create so much with our minds. That is another thing to remember, is that yes, while we have been in a time period of the physical, we have been very focused on creation. We still are. We are creative beings. We are creators. We are creators. So as we approach this mastery of the mind time period, which is going to be a long time, in our perspectives as little humans, it does span over the time of thousands of years. Just according to the cosmos and the nature of energies, it's all on a pattern, it's all on a timeline. And as you learn the patterns of the planets and of the stars and of the energies, how those things affect us on this little earth, you'll see like the pattern. There's a pattern. If you're watching this video, you probably are aware of that. I don't know. Maybe you're not. But yeah, patterns. A lot of patterns. And yeah, it's written in the stars. So anyway, I just want to illustrate this point that we as humanity are being confronted with things more of the spirit, because the mind is kind of like the intersection, I feel like, between the physical and the spiritual. I think like thoughts are very spiritual in nature, but they're not quite just spirit. They're still thoughts. We can still be plagued by a lot of illusion in the thought. We can still be thinking thoughts that are not our thoughts. I'm coming from this speaking with firsthand experience that there are spirits, beings, entities, some of them working for the purpose of good and some of them working for the purpose of dark. And when we are not aware of our minds and we are not aware of ourselves, entities can come in and they can use your mind and use your body to carry out their agendas. I'm speaking from firsthand experience. And it's funny because I grew up in a religious setting, a religious environment. I grew up religiously, learning about Jesus, learning about, spiritual things. But the thing that I realize is that, speaking about spirits, like actually having experiences with spirits was very like taboo. And I felt like so I'm kind of ridding myself of those mentalities and those like taboos, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that religious people fear spirit. It doesn't make sense to me. It honestly boggles my mind. And it's like ignorance is bliss, but ignorance, like that bliss that comes from your ignorance, only lasts so long. It only lasts so long. And then it will come and it will confront you with the truth. You will be confronted by the truth. And a lot of people's reaction is to run and hide. So anyway, moving into this mental time period, this time of mastering the mind, we are confronted with the spirits that we have been carrying and we've been hosting in our minds. We are being confronted by the illusions, the self-sabotage, the self-betrayal, the self-rejection. None of those are by nature who you are. None of those things. And do you see that in this world of a physical focus, a lot of people have been bogged down by these dreadful things? People are not free. People can be free in the physical, but they are not free in the mental. They're depressed. They're worried. They're spending all their time thinking about what somebody else said or what somebody else expects or what somebody else wants of them. Do you see how that is not freedom? If you can free your mind, you can be free in the body. That's something that Marcus Garvey said. If you can free your mind, you can be free in the body. Even if you're in prison. If you're free in the mind, you can make time of that. Make good use of that time. Because like just having experienced the difference of that being so consumed by external physical things in the mind versus taking back the mind and using it as the tool it was divinely created to be. That is such a big difference. A big difference. You can literally thrive through so many scenarios and situations when you are free in the mind. People can treat you terribly, and somehow you will be able to find like beauty and purpose. Like you will see it. It's not even a matter of finding it, it's a matter of seeing it from the beginning. You can see, because you are no longer illusioned by your own mind. So we are transitioning into this new time period. We are basically, we're here, but we are at the beginning of it. So for many people, and like at least the way I'm seeing it and experiencing it is very much like a transition, because I see both. I see people who are finding freedom in the mind, and I see people who are still very illusioned and bogged down by things of the physical world. People that have no sense of freedom of the mind, but who rather are like slaves to whatever is in their mind, whatever negative narrative is playing back in their mind. Right? So I'm seeing both of it very clearly in my physical reality. If you've, people saying that the divide is just growing, it's true. You have people existing on a completely different plane than others. You see that. You'll see two people on opposite sides of the plane together in the physical reality. That's just a matter of the time that we're living in. You cannot assume what another person near you cannot assume the way that they are experiencing something, because quite frankly, there's a lot of contrast. There's a lot of distance, and there's a lot of distance between some people's reality and the person next to them, or even a mother and a child, or to a brother and a sister, regardless of age. It's not a thing about age anymore. It's not. That's something of the physical. But what matters at this point is not so much the physical anymore, but the mental. So if an old person can free their mind, they can exist in the same place with a lot of young people that have freed their minds. If a young person has not freed their mind, they will still be chasing the things that their parents and their grandparents chased. They will lose their life, their time to that, their bodies, their health. That's what we're seeing. That's what we've seen. Like 9 to 5 jobs, not where it's at. Not where it's at. People can find better 9 to 5 jobs than like other 9 to 5 jobs, because there's options, right? But I'm telling you that your time is worth a lot more than like money. Your time is worth a lot more than $20. An hour of your time is worth more than $20. Like, honestly, and I'm not gonna say like you can put a money value to it, but value at the point where we're at with money is almost merely just a number, and people having a lot of money is not necessarily making people happy. When people reach that goal of having this much money or that much money, what are they occupied with? Oh, now I can pay my house rent or my whatever. Oh, I can pay my insurance. oh, I can pay this, it's like a sigh of relief. It's not joy. It's like, oh, thankfully I made it this month. I made it to the amount that I need. Like, money money is exchangeable. It doesn't create an inherent value. It's just an exchange of, like, it's just a trade off for some value, you know. I don't know. It's That's another thing we're transitioning with. There's a lot more ways to live than just needing money. There's a lot more ways to get your needs met, to meet your needs, to create the way to meet your needs and wants. There's a lot more possibilities for that than just a number of dollars. Okay, so moving on. Moving on is that, I mentioned patriarchy and, this period of time where men have really been in power. Let's say that, let's look at leaderships in countries. Men. It's just how it is. And we see war, we see domination, we see control. I'm not saying that that's who men are. I'm saying that that is a masculine, the masculine energy taking precedence, and I would say an unhealed masculine. That's not the divine role of masculine energy. It's not domination, it's not control, it's not violence. We are moving into a time where we are coming to have to master things of the mind, which in that we are dealing with spirits, we are dealing with illusions, we are dealing with hate, we are dealing with like unjust treatment of other people. And I'm going to just say that at this time, feminine energy is coming to bring what has been lost. Not to say that feminine energy is exactly where it needs to be at this time in the world. We also see a lot of unhealed feminine energy. We see a lot of unhealed feminine and unhealed masculine. But something at this time that is going to come in handy, I would say feminine energy, regardless if you're a man or a woman, and also women. We are coming into a space where we need women. We need the leadership of women. We need that beautiful ability of holding space, compassion, love, receptivity, sight, because women, we have this ability to see things more clearly on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, on even a physical level. We are gifted sight. We are gifted connection to the wisdom of the heavens, of the divine. Regardless of, I don't know what you believe about the creation of man and woman. If we, but whatever. I don't know. I can't say that I was there when the distinction was created, but I will say that men and women, we have different purposes. We have different purposes that work together